Regained strength in the Gulf of Mexico reached the U.S. coast later in the week. Delta now the 26th named storm of the 2020 season already.
Yeah, very active season. We've seen some of that even come to the southern parts of the United States over the course of the last couple of weeks. Meteorologist Anthony Dummel right here with us in the studio for another check of our forecast. Anthony.
Hey, Doug and Derek, I think our icon needs to be updated there from that little number 2 that was inside of that circle denoting where the center of circulation is supposed to be, because we've got a category 4 on our hands right now, not a category 2, and this is pushing into the western portion of the Caribbean, approaching the northernmost section of the Yucatan Peninsula, and it's going to make its approach, it looks like, tomorrow morning at some point, come across that northern tip, probably just to the north of Cancun. But you know, the winds associated with this particular system, which is moving off to the west-northwest, has picked up the pace a little bit from yesterday at 16 miles per hour. The wind sustained, or at least given to us from the National Hurricane Center, at 140 miles per hour. Take a look at this track over that northern tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. If you've been down to Cancun before, you know that Cancun is basically right in the path of this category 4 monster. Emerges back into the Gulf of Mexico. Its interaction with the land, which probably won't be a real long time, just a matter of a few hours or so, will be enough to drop it back a bit. But once it gets into the southern Gulf, it does appear as though atmospheric conditions are going to be favorable for additional strengthening at that time. So perhaps it can get back to category 4 status before it begins to lose a little bit of oomph on its approach into Louisiana, or that's the line of thinking right now, because it'll start to encounter some southerly and southwesterly shear in the upper levels, and also the water temperatures are a little bit more marginal once you approach the southern Gulf at this point. We're getting into October, and the water's cooling off just a touch, enough to support a hurricane certainly, but probably not enough to support a category 4. We'll see how it goes over the next several days, but that'll be approaching on Friday into Saturday, the United States mainland, that is. Here are the waves as we go into tomorrow. Got a gale warning which goes into effect at 11 o'clock tonight, so we're actually picking up the wind speeds mid to late evening and into the overnight. I mentioned that yesterday as this Clipper number 2 is passing through Ontario on its southern side, cranking up the winds just a bit. Breezy out there today, a temperature of, I believe, 66 at last check. In Grand Rapids, our high temp of the day likely to be 67 or 68, and we'll be in similar territory on Wednesday. 70s will return quickly on Friday. There are some subtle differences in the 7-day forecast. I've had to temper the temps just a bit, but still, I think we're in the upper 60s to low to mid 70s right on into early next week. And look at the future rainfall. Virtually nothing through Saturday and Sunday. Our first opportunity maybe for a shower would be at some point later Monday, more probably overnight into Tuesday at some point. So still several days away. A big surge of warm air through the central portions of the United States. And as I mentioned yesterday with that Clipper going across southern Canada, it was to tug on some of that warmer air. We were never going to make it into the 70s today, but approaching the upper 60s in a lot of locations, if not already there. Kalamazoo and Battle Creek, here's those southerly winds around 15 to 20, gusting to 25, perhaps even some gusts to around 30 miles per hour. And these winds, I think, are actually going to pick up towards midnight, and shortly thereafter, we could be gusting to around 30 plus miles per hour, and that can go right on through tomorrow morning before subsiding, I do believe, in the afternoon. So you get the idea. The waves are going to be cranked up on Lake Michigan 4 to 6 feet, perhaps even a little bit higher in some cases, maybe 7 or 8 feet, especially towards Holland and a bit northward overnight tonight. Satellite radar, we don't have much going on. This next Clipper taking a similar track to what we were thinking even several days ago. That means any sprinkle and shower activity likely to remain north of us. May we get a sprinkle into Oceana, Newaygo County later this evening into the overnight? It's possible, but it would be pretty much a nil factor, as most people will be sleeping. By the time you wake up tomorrow, we're back into sunshine, and tomorrow is a repeat performance. Derek and Doug back into the mid-upper 60s, and look at that by Friday, surging into the 70s. It's going to be warm through the weekend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what we like to hear this time of year. Thank you, Anthony. Well, Mass